Welcome back to year 2 of the Basketball Blueprint podcast. Normally I have my guy Rico with me. He's dealing with some school issues with some of his players, and hopefully he'll be back here next week on the podcast. But I do have a special guest with us, assistant coach Will Ryan, who will be replacing assistant coach Al Hansen, who left us and went to the University of Bradley for greener pastures, a little bit more money. He'll probably say something different, but that's what he did. But Will, welcome. We're so happy to have you on the podcast, man, and being here as an assistant coach. What's going on?
You get rid of one Wisconsinite and bring in another. So no, shout out to Al and Rico. Sorry that things are a little awry down at your school, but hope all goes well. And no, good morning, and thanks for having me.
So we're going to get right into it. How was it for you growing up being the son of Hall of Fame coach Bo Ryan?
So growing up, very special. I learned a ton from my dad on the court. Always wanted to, kind of follow in his footsteps, become a coach, and just growing up in his gym, being a ball boy for many, many years, looking up to his players. They were like big brothers to me. And so I learned a ton and had so much fun doing it. During the process of being a ball boy, growing up in the gym with him, and then eventually playing for him, you didn't think about the Hall of Fame. But as he, moved on from Platteville after winning 4 national championships and then going to UW Milwaukee for 2 years and Wisconsin for 15, and all the success he had, especially at the University of Wisconsin, you assumed one day he would get in the Hall. So last fall, my family and I got the opportunity to go out to Springfield and enjoy all the Hall of Fame festivities and watch him, finally get in. And you talk about a special atmosphere there at the Hall of Fame with all the guys you looked up to: Michael Jordan, Dr. J, Larry Bird, Magic. All those guys. Being in the same room with them was something I'll never forget. You had to. It was like pinch me. It was a pinch me moment. Like, is this really happening? Guys you idolize. So, for my dad to be in the Hall with all the greats, kind of made us to the top of the mountain, and he deserved it, rightfully so.
That's a very special moment. I know me and Coach Jeter talked about it last year, and he was overwhelmed himself with everything. So you mentioned that you played for Pops. So how was that? I know you played for him and worked for him at some point. So how was playing for him and also working for him?
Kind of one and the same. A lot of tough love. No, so in his system at UW Platteville, almost every guy redshirted. Mm. And so going in, you just assumed you'd redshirt because I had 4th and 5th year seniors ahead of me. And 3 or 4 of them were all Americans. Mm. So I probably wasn't going to take playing time from them. So you just roll with the punches, and you redshirt and get bigger, faster, stronger, and you get to go against All-Americans every day in practice. So I always like to, me and my teammates, we like to call each other, we were the scout team All-Americans. So no, you get beat up, and some days, you get the best of those guys, and then they have to hear it from my dad. Like, how are you going to let a freshman, kick your butt today? So that was your goal as a scout team guy, is to try to give them the best possible look, give the starters and the main rotation guys the best look, because you're trying to get them better. And in return, you're getting better yourself.
Absolutely.
And, that's the way I believe a program should work. Obviously, a lot has changed since then. But no, it was a lot of hard work and, tough love. He's not going to let you slide. He's going to be very detail oriented, and you're going you're going to work. That's for sure. So it's very rewarding because, when your number is called and you do get a chance to get on the floor for him, that's very special. And in my short time playing for my dad at UW Platteville, my redshirt year, we went undefeated and won the national championship. Then the following year, I was probably 10th man, and we won another national championship. So back-to-back national championships. And, some of those were some of the best times of my life, with my brothers cutting down the nets and, winning a national championship at any level.
Absolutely.
Is
hard.
Something you can't take away from you. So, no, and then got to play for him briefly at UW Milwaukee. I had ended up transferring there, but I had to sit out. There's no transfer portal back then,
right?
Unfortunately. So then he left, went to Wisconsin, and then I finished playing for Bruce Pearl. So all in all, I played for 3 different college coaches. And of my 5 years of eligibility, I played 3. So it didn't work out the way I had envisioned, but all the while I did learn a ton and had some very memorable experiences. And then shortly after I graduated from UW Milwaukee, I joined my dad's staff as the video coordinator at Wisconsin. So I did that for 2 years and then was his director of ops for 2 years. So my dad's one of those guys where if something goes wrong, he thinks you can fix it in an instant. My computer wasn't working. This is back before we had the nice laptops and all the really nice video equipment and Synergy and all that stuff. So I'll never forget, he asked me one day, he's like, well, my computer wasn't working. So he said, well, can't you just go to the library and get a book and learn how to fix it? And he was dead serious. So, just maybe out of touch a little bit with how technology works. But, he kept me on my toes. He would always, you'd think you're good for one moment, and then he'd be like, Will, get in my office. And he needed me to write an email for somebody, or he had some obscure question about something. So, but no, it was a good experience, and learned a lot from the administrative side.
Gotcha.
And then I was able to go up to North Dakota State and join one of my dad's former players, Saul Phillips. Was at North Dakota State for 7 years, and then we went to the tournament twice, and then we moved on to Ohio University. So, yeah, it's been a ride.
Okay. So, when did you develop a relationship with Coach Jeter?
So I was about 10 years old, let's say 4th grade, when Coach Jeter was a freshman for my dad at Platteville. So I was a ball boy, and like I said before, I was in the gym all the time with those guys, just watching how they played, how they reacted to my dad's coaching, and things that I just picked up on. And I honestly probably learned how to shoot my jump hook from Coach Jeter. He always jokes and says he's got the best one of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
And I got the second best.
He'll tell you that, absolutely.
But no, that was his favorite shot, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but I'm pretty sure he still has the all-time field goal percentage at UW Platteville. He shot 61% from the floor.
Wow.
And most of them were jump hooks. So, it was pretty much automatic. He got guys in the post, automatic, especially in the swing offense, and that's what I ran in high school. And I just loved getting in. Being about 6 foot, I still love to get in the post and shoot jump hooks. So, but no, yeah, that's when I started. That's when I first developed that relationship with Coach Jeter, and always looked up to him as an older brother figure, along with his teammates. And man, he was on some special teams. They had some phenomenal teams.
Now, how is it now that you're working for him as an assistant coach?
So we're still in that honeymoon phase, right? So it's only been through the summer, but no, I got the opportunity to work with him at Wisconsin when he was an assistant for my dad, and then I was the ops guy, and so we've been on the same staff before, but I'd never had the opportunity to work directly under him. No, it's it's been great so far. This summer, I've really enjoyed being back with Coach Jeter and yourself and the rest of the staff. I'm really excited to get going. I think we have a phenomenal staff and a pretty darn good team. So it's early yet, but there's still a lot for these guys to learn, and for me as well, just getting back into college basketball after being away from it for the last 2 years. A lot has changed, and the whole landscape is different from even a few years ago.
Yeah, Coach, no wins or losses yet, so
Right.
we still good for right now. But I love Coach Jeter, man. He's a real dude. He's an unbelievable coach, but he's an unbelievable man.
Yes.
And you don't get that you don't always get that in this profession of college basketball. So I love him to death. Tell us how many brothers and sisters you have, and how long have you been married, and the age of your 3 boys?
So I am the second oldest of 5 kids.
Okay.
I have an older sister. Then it's myself. I have a younger brother. He lives in LA. He's a basketball trainer.
Okay.
And then I have 2 younger sisters, and they're both in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I can't even keep track anymore. There's my parents have, was it 9, 10? I don't even know, grandkids now. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, they're busy. I met my wife when I was going to school at UW Milwaukee. She had graduated from UW La Crosse and then had moved to Milwaukee, and I met her through some of our friends at UWM. So yeah, we've been married for 19 years. We have 3 boys. My oldest, Owen, is 17. He's a junior in high school. Liam, my middle son, is a sophomore. And Callan is, he's 11, and he's a 5th grader.
Yeah, Callan is a...
So they love basketball as well, and I kind of see in them, what I experienced, where they get to grow up in a college basketball program and look up to the guys, the players, and interact with them. And then, when they're not looking at their phones, because we didn't have that when I was a kid. I tell them, I say, hey, don't get to be on your phones when you're at practice. Like, you need to watch and learn from these guys, because you definitely learn a lot. So, yeah, the world is different, and they're excited about their upcoming season, and being in a new school, new environment. They're trying to get acclimated. School started last week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is a fun period for a dad, because I know my 2 sons coaching at San Jose State and them being at practice. Like, I got a picture of them in practice, laying on the floor watching practice. Yeah. And I actually got to find it somewhere in my garage, but I got a picture of them doing that. And now, being here at Southern Utah, now the twins, the girls, are getting to watch practice and come to games. And so I just, that's a real exciting period, even for a father, even to see your kids be able to grow up in this environment. Yeah. So, tell me about your first head coaching job at Green Bay, and how was it for you to run your own program?
I got to correct you. My first head coaching job was at Wheeling University in West Virginia.
Well, your first Division I.
Division I. It's Green Bay, yeah. Both of them were very chaotic. The start of them, when I got the job at Wheeling, it was late July. School started in late August. So I had, between myself and, I only had 2 graduate assistants, and I had one at the time when I got the job. Between he and I, we had 6 weeks to recruit an entire team. We were picked dead last. We finished 5th. The school had almost closed before I took the job. So needless to say, it was crazy. It was a crazy time. But it was a blast. I have like a lot of memorable experiences in that short amount of time with those guys, because nobody wanted them. They were guys that weren't recruited. And we're talking late in the summer, and we threw them a lifeline. They came, they got better, and finished fifth in the conference. And these guys, I guess you could say, overachieved. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun, and have ton of great memories. And then right after the season, COVID hits. So now you're sitting at home trying to recruit for the next year, not being able to go out and recruit. We all, it seems like a long time ago, but really,
it's only a few years ago.
Yeah. And I see that the Green Bay job opens like late in the spring, early summer. And it caught me off guard. And so I ended up throwing my hat in the ring, was able to get the interview, all through Zoom, because you can't do anything in person.
Right.
And was lucky enough to get that opportunity to come back to the motherland and the home state of Wisconsin. Even though Milwaukee, I graduated from UW Milwaukee and Green Bay, they're rivals, they don't like each other, so it was a little bit of an awkward position. But no, it was just crazy times. You inherit a team of guys that you didn't recruit. It's COVID. You're trying to do the best you can with what you got. And getting through that COVID year was crazy. And now you're going and head into year 2. And we had only recruited freshmen because we were going to build it the old-fashioned way.
Gotcha.
With freshmen and develop them thinking that, all right, we're going to have a great culture and build it, I believe, the way it was supposed to be built. And with mostly Wisconsin kids, that's what the administration wanted. That's what I was best at. And so, but the portal opens up at the end of the COVID season, and now you're looking around over your shoulder like, what's going to happen here? Nobody knew. And I'll admit, I wasn't smart enough to look ahead and foresee the future, I guess, because then now everybody's getting old, and we're young. And so we had some quality players, but they're 18, 19 years old, and now they're going up against 22, 23, 24. Man, we even played against some 25-year-olds.
Absolutely.
So game in, game out, you win some, you lose a lot of close ones, but you're trying to learn from these games and get these guys to where they're not getting discouraged. And it was tough. It was really tough. You lose a lot of close games, and with the third youngest team in the country. And then now you're going into year 3. You're trying to get old, and you swing and miss on some kids because they went to a bigger conference or a bigger school, or now they can get money that we couldn't provide.
Absolutely.
So you're like, okay, all right, well, let's still do this the old-fashioned way. And we all know that doesn't work.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way don't work quite well.
So no, it did not go according to plan, and but I learned a lot. Learned a lot about people, and not just from the players, but from administration and just my staff and just the day-to-day. You learn so much about people, and you make notes of, all right, if I ever get this opportunity again, how do I handle this situation? And
what I do.
And
what I do differently.
that's all part of life.
Yeah. Now, being a head coach and coming back to be an assistant, right? How do you envision being able to help Coach Jeter and the rest of us, go to that arc of, win a conference title, NCAA tournament? Like, I ain't been to the NCAA tournament, so I'm jealous.
Ooh.
I've been to the CBI. I was at the very first CBI against the University of Creighton, but I have not been to the NCAA tournament. So that's the ultimate goal for me.
I've been to the CBI as well. We made it to the semifinals when I was at Ohio University. No offense to the CBI, great tournament, but there's nothing like the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm fortunate to have been at different stops. And when you do it at a place, like a Southern Utah, we did it twice at North Dakota State. Similar situations, take that underdog mentality and have that chip on your shoulder, and because at North Dakota State, it had never been done. Why? Because we were transitioning from D2 to D1. So the first year of eligibility in 2009, we got to the tournament. Second team in history to do it. Long Beach State did it back in 1979. So, that was extremely special. And then, we rebuilt and then went again in 2014. So to do it at that level and then to win a game, we beat Oklahoma in 2014. Like, that's, ton of memories from that point, or from that standpoint. And then, I'm excited for the possibility to do it again. And I don't care if I'm a head coach, assistant coach, whatever. I'm just trying to help the team be the best they can be. And I do, there's a lot of stuff that Coach Jeter learned from my dad as well as myself. He never had an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator.
Right.
And now that he's doing that, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. He's adapting, because that's kind of the way basketball has gone.
Yeah.
And so, I'm excited for you and I as the co-defensive coordinators to, get this group, really honed in defensively. And I think we have the talent, we have the size, the length to really be a solid defensive team. So, that's that'll be one of my duties along with yourself. And so I'm excited for that. And that's really where I want to, try to dig even deeper and figure out, okay, what are we best at? Are we a better pressing team, trapping team, zone type team? Although I'm not a huge zone guy, but there might be some sprinkled in here and there. Who knows?
We'll get a little zone in. We definitely got to try to hold opponents under 70, and Gutty, who's the offensive coordinator, he needs to make sure guys we in the 85s or 90. Hopefully Gutty will hear this. So you know what? Let's talk about our team here. How do you believe this group can? How good do you think this group can be?
Most coaches at this point in the summer, they're all excited about their teams and they think they're going to be pretty good. I've been around a lot of different teams, and this team in particular, I'm going to put them right up there with one of the better teams I've been around, especially in the last 10 years or so. I know it's early, and I don't want to jinx us, but I think they have a chance to contend for a conference title. Because why not? I mean, that's why you play, right? You're trying to win a conference title and then move on to a tournament title and then the NCAA tournament. So just, like I touched on in terms of our depth, size, length, athleticism. But the biggest thing for me, and I haven't been around a team in the last 5, 6, 7 years that has been this mature. I was coaching the youngins at Green Bay. They were babies. We only have a couple babies this year. We have guys that have been through some battles and been at different stops, so they've taken a lot of lessons and from those previous coaching staffs, and some of these guys are coming from really good programs and they've been taught well. And that was the first thing that jumped out to me this summer when we started our workouts was there's just things we don't have to teach them. They already know.
Yeah.
And that's a luxury. You still gotta work on your craft and practice those things every day and get better at them. But just some of the the little things, they just do them already. So now now you're that much further ahead, and you don't have to harp on all the small, minute details.
We all laugh in the office all the time about, man, if you don't like your team right now, then you really in trouble.
Right.
But we got some guys, man, like as I go down the list of players that we have, like Rock Lee, going to be a sophomore, played a little bit at LIU, Brooklyn, and I think he's been a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Because he's long, pretty good athlete, got a good mid-range, can get to the rim. We need to get him posted a little bit more, and then he's reasonable from the three-point line.
Yeah.
And then Jock, who I call Jukebox, that's my man Jukebox. Jock, 6'8" from D2.
Also Wisconsinite.
Also Wisconsinite. Really athletic, can score around the rim, can also shoot it, defends. His second jump is quick as anybody I've seen in a long time. So then you got him, and then you got the freshman, Cale Barclay, who's been, I think he's opened all of our eyes because, as you say, we look at freshmen and be like, but he's come in and took some ownership and kicking a little butt, and I think he acts older than a freshman.
For sure.
Right now. And then we got guys like Tanner Hayhurst who can shoot it, and I think he got to be a little bit more aggressive, but and then you got Dylan Jones, who I believe could be top 10 in the country in three-point shooting. And he's just not a three-point shooter. He can get to the basket. He can do some other things. But, I mean, he's an elite shooter. And I can remember Coach in the office one day saying, make sure I don't say nothing to Dylan Jones. I don't care where you shoot the ball from. He can shoot from half court. I just got to let it go. And, he's made some shots already in practice deep, and coaches stop practice and be like, well, you can shoot out there, so don't look crazy. But it wouldn't surprise me if this kid is top 10 in the country in three-point shooting.
Definitely.
I almost expect it. And then you get a kid, and Dylan went to Fairleigh Dickinson last year, and then Tanner was at CSI, JUCO, but he played at BYU the year before.
Yep.
And then we got my man Isaiah Cottrell from Vegas, and 6'10", 6'11", really, really skilled, big.
Yep.
And played at West Virginia, played at UNLV, and I think this kid will show everybody how good he is. I think it's just a confident thing with him, and I think it's a minute thing.
Yeah.
With Ice, and he's working, so you can't be mad at that because he's working hard.
And he got a fresh haircut.
And he got a very fresh haircut.
Looks good.
I think his girl made him do it. I don't know. he haven't told us that yet, but and then big fella Kai. Kai Burdick has made such a big jump from this year to last year. Baseball player, pitcher, and went to JUCO, and now he's here in year 2, and he's made a heck of a jump as a big fella, and he's starting to shoot that jump hook a little bit and being a presence. And then you have Jaden he was at Holy Cross, and so for everybody to know, we got 3 Utah boys, Kel, Dylan, and Jaden, all Utah boys, and 2 of them came from Salt Lake Rebels AAU team. My guy Everett Gray helped us with Dylan and Jaden. And then former player that played here, Will, helped us with Kel. So shout out to the Utah boys. But Jaden, I call him poor man Cooper Flagg because I think he's ultra talented. He's a guy that he's athletic. He can post you. He can shoot the 3. And so I think the sky's the limit for this kid as well, to be able to showcase, what he can do.
Yeah.
Very excited about him. And then we got Zach Bell, who I call Baby Ja. Super quick, super duper athletic, can really score the ball. Actually defends really well too, can really move. We have to deal with him a little bit emotionally, getting him right all the way there. And I think if he gets there, like he should, then I think the sky's the limit for him too. And then you got somebody like Jalen Walden, had to go back home for a family emergency, but very skilled with the ball, can score it, can really score it. Actually have defended better than we thought he would. Yeah. And so we're looking forward to that. Lorenzo Abelar, Zoe's a general. He was with us last year as a walk-on. And, he just fights.
Yeah.
And so you always need guys like that. This team is really good for Lorenzo because he can get in the paint and distribute to people, which is what he really want to do.
Yeah, he makes guys better.
He makes guys better. And then we got Najib, who's fighting NCAA right now, trying to win his appeal and get his year back, and we're hoping that happens. Great kid, but really good player. Probably the best defensive player we got right now. Mm-hmm. So we're praying and hoping that all falls into place. And then we got a new fellow we just brought in, Elijah Duvall, point guard, and we had to bring him in case the Jeep thing don't get settled. And I think Elijah Duvall is a mixture between, and please don't take this the wrong way, but he has a little Derrick Rose in him. He has a little Baron Davis in him. I'm not saying he's going to be that good. I was joking with somebody. They was like, man, you got Baby Rose, you got Baby Ja, you got poor man Cooper Flagg. Man, we going to expect some big things. But just the body type that he has, his quickness, his athleticism, those are things that kind of remind you of him. And then we got Zep, another freshman from Atlanta, 6'7", and he's haven't been bad, He's got a ways to go, but he's fighting every day. He was in the gym yesterday working out with Isaiah a little bit. And big fella Chooks from Fresno State, who had 2 ACLs on the same knee, and so we're slowly working him back into things. And then hopefully Langston Benz, who redshirted here last year because of some knee stuff, and then hopefully we'll be able to get him on the court where he can actually play. So, our team we got a chance. We're deep, and something we wasn't last year, as a couple of our really good players got hurt, and we sitting on the bench looking at each other like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? I don't see that with this team. I think there's, this is gonna be interesting because we're probably 10 deep, and maybe even deeper than that. Yeah. And just being able to play guys in different situations and rolling with guys who are rolling. And but if this group, I don't really think offense is going to be an issue with this group. If we can really be a juggernaut defensively, then I believe this group got a chance to be special. Yeah. Now we do got some high major games. We got Gonzaga, and we opened up with Arizona State. We got Washington, who had a top 5 high major portal class, and we got Oregon State, Washington State, and Oregon State had one of our former players, that Parsa, who's over at Oklahoma State now, who's making a lot of money, NIL wise. So we got some high major games, and then we just added an MT with Robert Morris, and then we got Rio Grande coming back in here, and we go to Nebraska Omaha, who we actually beat last year, and they made it to the NCAA tournament. A shout out to them. They just had a incident with one of their former players that passed away. So my heart go out to his family and the administration of Omaha and the coaching staff and the players. I couldn't imagine. I lost a kid that we had, but it was years after he played, same kind of deal, drowning incident. But heart go out to them. And but that's just, I'm excited that you're here, and I'm excited about what we could be defensively and offensively. Like, I really do think we can be a juggernaut, and I think we're going to turn some heads. I believe we're going to surprise some people. And that's exciting for me. Tell me, Is there a way that people can get in touch with you, like on your own X, Twitter?
I am on X. I've been on it since what, 09 or whenever Twitter originated. It's at Coach Will Ryan. I go in waves of putting stuff out to the masses. There's probably stuff that I'd like to put out there but can't. Certain things you can't say. No, I'm joking. But, it's a good tool to have, especially when you're following players and, checking out highlights and seeing what they're doing stat-wise. I found a player that way. I ended up going to the NBA, Jason Preston.
Yeah, okay.
I happened to follow his prep school team on Twitter, on X, and his highlights jumped out to me. I was like, I got to do some digging on this kid. Made some calls. Next thing you know, we get him on a visit. He commits to us, averaged 2 points a game in high school in Florida, wasn't even going to play college basketball, and happened to play in a late available deal and ended up at a prep school in Tennessee. It was in Athens, and then he comes to Athens, Ohio. So unfortunately, we only got to coach him for 1 year, and then he ended up 2 years later, after the COVID year, taking Ohio to the NCAA tournament and beating Virginia.
Nice.
And he left after his junior year and was drafted, I believe it was 33rd overall by the Clippers. And I know he did spend some time with the Salt Lake Stars last year. But you talk about an unbelievable story. And just coming from his mom passing away of cancer, his Jamaican aunt and uncle kind of helped then raise him, became his guardians. And so that there is some good in social media, because I happened to find him and saw his highlights, and then I like to think that we helped change his life.
Nice.
And he's married, has a young child that him and his wife just had. So shout out to Jay Preston. What a phenomenal human being. Love that kid. And so I guess I would be more active on Twitter than anything else. Facebook I check once a month. Instagram kind of the same, but I don't know. I'm old now. I don't have time for that stuff.
Well, it should be an exciting year, and it will be an exciting year for the Basketball Blueprint podcast as well. We'll have all these players I just mentioned will be on the podcast at some point. We're going to attempt to get some of the NBA guys on here, Robert Dillingham. We got some guys set up from the NBA to probably be on here. We will have Coach Jeter again come by and tell us what he's thinking. And we will have some of the other assistant coaches on. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We'll have some administrators, like Todd Brown, maybe Doc Brown again. Maybe my new AD, interim AD right now, Tom. So I plan on getting a little bit of a mixture of everybody here at SUU. And so we'll have some fun this year. I do want to thank Ryan and Rob, who have made this possible again, this podcast on video. I want to thank you, fellas. And then actually give a shout out to my little sister. She just had a major surgery. She had a tumor removed, 17-pound tumor removed out of her stomach. So she's doing okay. Love you, little lady. Man, this is the Basketball Blueprint, and this is Uncle D checking out. I'll see you next week. Peace.